Thomas Markle's wish is that his daughter and son-in-law will somehow see this story, accept his apology for past embarrassments, and listen to his plea to be allowed into his grandchildren's lives.
What if the story you've been told for years was never the whole truth? What if the face of compassion and advocacy that Meghan Markle has carefully built for herself hides a much darker secret? A secret that, if exposed, could unravel everything. Stay with us, because what we're about to reveal could change everything you thought you knew. Harry, for years, has remained a quiet figure amidst the ongoing tumult of family dramas. While others have screamed for attention, he chose to withdraw, letting the noise and controversies whirl around him. He silently endured the prying eyes, the judgments, and the media storm, seemingly untouched by the chaos surrounding him. But now, Thomas Markle's shocking revelation has turned everything upside down. This is not just another round of gossip, nor a fleeting rumor that will eventually fade into the background. No, this revelation strikes at the very heart of Harry's identity, his trust, and the truth that he has so carefully shielded from the world. The accusation, the claim of a hidden, abandoned child, is not merely a personal attack. It is an existential challenge, one that forces Harry to confront a question he can no longer avoid. For years, he has been able to keep his silence intact, believing that it would protect him, his family, and the truth he has so desperately worked to preserve. But with Thomas Markle's explosive claim, that silence is no longer a shield. It now stands as a barrier, one that is crumbling under the weight of the truth that threatens to break free. The question looms: can silence still protect him, or has the time finally come for him to speak out and face the storm head-on? Stay with us, because the revelations that are about to unfold will shake the world in ways no one could have ever predicted. Thomas Markle, for all these years, has been a shadow figure in the royal narrative, a peripheral character dismissed by the media as unreliable, emotional, or driven by bitterness. His voice was often drowned out by the louder voices of the royals and the relentless media circus that followed them. But now, his words are carrying a weight far beyond family squabbles or personal grievances. For years, Thomas Markle has accused Meghan of cruelty, neglect, and distance, of a relationship fractured by the pressure of royal life and fame. But now, his words take a darker turn. This time, he's not speaking of missed phone calls or the controversy of staged paparazzi photos. He's claiming something far more serious. He's accusing Meghan Markle of abandoning a child during her youth and deliberately erasing that chapter of her life. This is no ordinary family dispute. If true, this accusation would be a moral rupture, a crack in the very foundation of the story that Meghan has spent years building. For years, Meghan has been the image of compassion and charity, a woman who advocates for others, who speaks out on behalf of those without a voice. Her public identity is built on the pillars of empowerment, kindness, and service. But this claim casts a shadow over that image, suggesting that beneath the surface of Meghan's carefully crafted public persona, there is a hidden truth, a truth that, if exposed, could unravel everything. This is not about hurt feelings or a fractured family dynamic. This is about the deliberate concealment of a significant part of Meghan's past. A hidden chapter, erased responsibilities, and a burden of secrecy that has been carried for far too long. When Thomas Markle speaks of the child, his voice is filled with more than just accusation. It is laden with regret. This is not the voice of a man seeking revenge or seeking to tear down his daughter. Instead, it's the voice of someone who has carried the weight of a secret for years, someone who is finally coming to terms with his own role in keeping that secret hidden. His words are not just those of an angry father. They are the words of a man acknowledging his own failures. He doesn't just speak of the pain of being a wronged parent. He admits to his own complicity in the silence that has enveloped his daughter's life. This shift, this self-reflection, is what has unsettled so many who have heard his story. It suggests that this revelation was not a sudden outburst, but a confession that has been long delayed, a truth that has been buried for too long. The timing of this revelation cannot be overlooked. It arrives at a critical moment when the Sussex narrative is already under tremendous pressure. Public sympathy for Harry and Meghan has been eroding steadily. Their charitable projects, once celebrated, are now under intense scrutiny. Their credibility, which was once a powerful tool, is now fragile, subjected to the same public examination they once sought to escape. This claim comes at a time when Harry has crafted a new post-royal identity based on the values of truth, transparency, and emotional honesty. The very values he has built his new life around are now being challenged by his revelation. In a time when the couple's every move is dissected in public, when every word is scrutinized, the revelation of such a deeply hidden truth carries far more weight than it would have just a few years ago. In the past, a claim like this might have been buried under the palace's protective shield or drowned out by the relentless noise of media coverage. But now, it lands in an open, unprotected space, ready to explode into the public consciousness. This is why Thomas Markle's accusation changes everything. It forces the public to confront an uncomfortable possibility. What if the story we have all accepted, the narrative that has been carefully shaped and told, is incomplete? What if the truth we have all embraced was deliberately crafted to exclude certain facts, certain realities? And if that's the case, who knew about it? Who helped create this narrative? And perhaps most importantly, who is now trapped by the truth that has been buried for so long but is finally demanding to be acknowledged? The timing of Thomas Markle's decision to speak out is critical. For years, he lived in the shadows of Meghan's story, his voice drowned out by the media frenzy and the public persona she had carefully cultivated. But now, something has shifted. He has broken his silence and the world is left wondering, why now? What pushed him to reveal this secret, especially after so many years of silence? Thomas Markle's decision to speak is not simply an act of anger or revenge. It is an act driven by circumstances. His age, his isolation, and the weight of his own regrets have all contributed to this moment. As he himself has admitted, he feels that time is running out. He lives in seclusion in Mexico, far from the world he once knew, and even farther from the family that once defined his life. His health has deteriorated, and his connection to his daughter and grandchildren has been severed for years. There are no more quiet phone calls, no more hopeful attempts at reconciliation. From his perspective, the door to his family has been permanently closed. And when a person believes they have already lost everything that matters, silence no longer feels like loyalty, it feels like surrender. But even in this moment of isolation, Thomas Markle doesn't present himself purely as a victim. He speaks not only of his pain, but of his own role in the events that led to this point. He admits to protecting his daughter too much, enabling behavior he now wishes he had confronted. This admission of complicity changes the entire tone of his message. It is not just an angry outburst from a father who has been wronged. It is the admission of a man who has made mistakes and is now attempting to expose the truth that has been hidden for far too long. This combination of confession and revelation is what makes his words so powerful. It is a story of regret, yes, but also of responsibility. The accusation made by Thomas Markle is not just a family dispute. It is a moral challenge to everything Meghan has built. It is a challenge to the carefully constructed public image she has spent years cultivating. If this claim proves true, it suggests that much of the narrative we have accepted about Meghan's life is incomplete, if not entirely false. And that revelation forces us to ask, what else has been hidden? What other parts of her past have been erased, concealed, or manipulated? And who now will have to bear the consequences of that truth coming to light? This is the question that Harry must now face. For a man who has built his new life on transparency, honesty, and emotional openness, this revelation threatens to tear apart everything he has worked for. His trust in the woman he married is now being tested in ways he never anticipated. The question is no longer just about whether he will speak out, but whether he can reconcile the man he believes himself to be with the reality of the situation he now faces. So, why has Thomas Markle chosen this moment, after so many years of silence, to finally speak out? What is it that pushed him to reveal this deeply personal secret now, when he could have remained quiet? For much of the public, Thomas has been relegated to the background of the royal drama, a man seen as unreliable, overly emotional, or motivated by bitterness. His name has often been whispered in hushed tones, dismissed as someone who could not be trusted. But to truly understand why he chose now to break his silence, we must look beyond the labels and examine the unique and profound circumstances surrounding his life. At nearly 80 years old, Thomas Markle now lives in seclusion, far removed from the glitz and glamour of the royal spotlight. He has retreated to a quiet, solitary existence in Mexico, a place where the world cannot reach him and the drama of the royal family cannot disturb his peace. Yet this solitude has come at a cost. His health has been in sharp decline, and the relationship with his daughter Meghan and his grandchild Ren has been severed for years. There are no more phone calls filled with promises of reconciliation, no more chances to bridge the gap that has grown between them. In his heart, he believes the door to his family has been closed for good. From his perspective, there is nothing left to protect. The ties that once bound him to his daughter have frayed, and the loyalty that once kept him silent now feels hollow. He has spent years in isolation, his physical and emotional health fading as time slips away from him. In those quiet moments, he must have realized that the cost of silence, once seen as an act of loyalty, had transformed into something much more painful, an act of surrender. When a person reaches the end of their life and feels they have already lost everything that mattered, silence no longer feels like an act of devotion. It becomes an anchor, holding them in a place where the truth cannot be set free. What complicates the gravity of this revelation, though, is that Thomas Markle does not paint himself purely as a victim in this scenario. He doesn't merely point fingers or lash out at those who he feels have wronged him. Instead, he acknowledges his own role in the story. He speaks candidly about how he protected his daughter too much, how he enabled behaviors that, in hindsight, he deeply regrets. This isn't the story of an angry father trying to tear down his daughter. It's the story of a man who, after years of reflection, is finally admitting to his own complicity in the silence that has surrounded them. This is a confession, yes, but it is also an act of exposure. The truth he's revealing isn't just about his daughter's past. It's about his own part in the secrecy that has shrouded her life. Thomas Markle's decision to speak out is not merely about confronting the past or seeking redemption. It is about something deeper, legacy. He isn't attempting to repair a relationship that, in his eyes, may already be beyond repair. His motivations lie elsewhere. He's trying to ensure that his version of events, his truth, survives long after he's gone. He has lived long enough to see his daughter's story become the public narrative, one that may not align with his own recollection of events. And so, in this moment of quiet, Thomas chooses to disrupt that narrative. This is not just about him seeking some form of justice or reconciliation. It's about ensuring that, when all is said and done, his version of the story is remembered, even if it means the fracture with Meghan will never heal. This is why his words carry such weight. They were not delivered in a burst of rage, nor were they leaked through a third party. Instead, they were spoken plainly, almost resignedly, as though he were unburdening himself before it's too late. There is no shouting, no defiant declaration of war, just a man speaking the truth as he knows it, stripped of any remaining illusion that it will mend the fractured bond with his daughter. He understands that these words may never bring them back together, but in this final act, he is setting his truth free, giving it air before his time runs out. In the quiet of his isolation, Thomas Markle has come to realize something profound, that his silence has cost him far more than he ever intended. And now, at the end of his journey, he chooses to speak. Not out of vengeance, not out of anger, but out of a need to be heard, to ensure that the truth, his truth, does not disappear into the void of forgotten stories. Whether this revelation will bring peace or further division, only time will tell. But for now, Thomas Markle's words stand as a testament to the enduring weight of silence and the quiet strength it takes to break it. As Thomas Markle reflects on his life, there is an undeniable sense of urgency driving him forward. The clock is ticking, and he knows his time is running out. His years have been spent in the shadows, with his voice often ignored or drowned out by the louder voices of others. But now, with the weight of the years pressing on him, he feels that if he doesn't speak now, his version of the story, the truth as he understands it, will be lost forever. These words, these revelations, are not driven by a desire for vengeance or bitterness. They are motivated by something far deeper, an unwavering need for truth. Thomas Markle wants the world to hear his truth, not the carefully curated narrative that has been presented. He is no longer willing to stay silent, not when so much has been left unsaid. This moment of reckoning arrives at a time when Megan's past is under intense scrutiny. Her years at Northwestern University, once seen as a straightforward period of academic pursuit and personal growth, are now being re-examined under a new, far darker light. What was once considered a time of youthful independence and education is now being questioned as the origin of a hidden chapter, one that Megan herself has worked tirelessly to keep sealed. It is a chapter that involves a secretive relationship, one that has been buried under layers of public persona and media control. A marriage, possibly tied to an unplanned pregnancy, that was not celebrated publicly, but instead quietly arranged, out of sight, kept from the public eye. If Thomas Markle's claims are to be believed, this marriage, along with its potential consequences, was intentionally erased from Megan's history, carefully omitted from the record in a bid to maintain the image she wanted to present to the world. The theory surrounding this hidden chapter centers on the legal maneuver of an annulment, not a divorce, but an annulment. An annulment, unlike a divorce, would have legally declared the marriage never existed. It is a powerful tool, one that erases not just the relationship, but also any public acknowledgement of it. The process would ensure that no trace, no public record of the marriage or any potential child resulting from it would remain. For someone like Megan, who has worked relentlessly to craft and maintain a carefully constructed public image, an annulment would serve a far more strategic purpose than a divorce ever could. A divorce might raise questions, cause public scrutiny, and add layers of complexity to her carefully shaped narrative. But an annulment would erase that part of her life entirely, allowing her to move forward without the weight of a past that no longer fit the trajectory she had chosen for herself. This is why, if the theory holds any truth, it raises far more than just questions about Megan's personal life. It speaks to the lengths to which she, and perhaps others, were willing to go to reshape the narrative surrounding her, to erase inconvenient truths, to bury parts of her past that might undermine the polished, progressive image she has worked so hard to build. And for Thomas Markle, this is where the story takes a devastating turn. It's not just about family conflict anymore. It's about the deliberate and calculated erasure of a chapter in Megan's life, one that may never be uncovered, but whose consequences have rippled outward, touching the lives of everyone around her. The idea that such a drastic step could have been taken to conceal a marriage, a child, and an entire part of Megan's history is a revelation that cuts deep. It challenges everything the world believes about Megan and the narrative she has so carefully built. For Thomas Markle, the urgency to reveal this story comes from a place of not just wanting the world to understand what really happened, but a deep need for accountability. If his daughter has intentionally concealed such a significant part of her past, what else has been hidden? What else is being kept from the world? These questions don't just stir the pot, they shatter the very foundation of everything Megan has publicly stood for. While there is, as yet, no concrete proof to support the claim of an annulment, the theory itself raises profound and unsettling questions about the unexplained gaps in Meghan Markle's public timeline. Between her college years and the start of her acting career, there are significant periods where public documentation is sparse or entirely absent. These gaps in her story are not just casual oversights. They represent the only plausible windows where such dramatic allegations of a secret marriage and the subsequent abandonment of a child could potentially fit. These years, shrouded in ambiguity, are the only moments in her narrative where the accusations could align without contradicting known facts. It is these missing years, this gap in her biography, that continue to fuel intense speculation. Each time someone questions these unexplained stretches of her past, it only stokes the flames of uncertainty. As more people dig into Meghan's life, critics are left with an uncomfortable thought. Could this missing time be the very period during which these troubling events transpired? Theories are multiplying as public interest grows, and the more the public tries to piece together the puzzle, the more the gaps widen. At the heart of this controversy is not just a marriage that may have been concealed or a legal document that could have been erased from public records. What really ignites the imagination and raises the stakes of this debate is the alleged existence of a child, an innocent life that, if the claims are true, has been entirely erased from Meghan's public narrative. The speculation surrounding this child is so intense because, unlike other rumors about relationships or career moves, a child leaves behind an undeniable marker of time. Children grow, they leave traces in the world, school records, birthdays, milestones. If this child were born in the early 2000s, they would be in their early 20s by now. Yet, Thomas Markle's words, though vague, suggest that this child might still be a teenager, which creates a profound discrepancy. This unsettling gap between what is known and what has been suggested only deepens the mystery and feeds the fire of speculation. The fact that there has been no official confirmation or denial only intensifies the debate and compounds the mystery. Silence, in high-profile cases like this, is often a strategic move. Legal teams frequently advise their clients not to engage with unverified claims, fearing that any response might amplify the rumor mill. But silence comes at a price. Without a clear denial or an official statement from Meghan or her representatives, the gaps in the story are filled by conjecture, by the public's natural desire for answers. Forums, social media platforms, and online communities have become hotbeds of speculation, scouring every available piece of public information. Old interviews, yearbooks, photos, and casual comments to reconcile what is known with what is being alleged. With each new piece of information that surfaces, the story continues to grow, and with it, the speculation intensifies. What makes this theory persist, and in many ways grow, is the absence of clear evidence. Missing records, missing years, and missing explanations have created a fertile ground for this story to take root. Absence, as it turns out, is more than just a lack of information. It is the breeding ground for theories, and these theories, no matter how unverified, continue to circulate. In the absence of clarity, the narrative continues to evolve, becoming larger and more complex with every unanswered question. Silence, once a shield, now seems to act as a catalyst, pushing the truth, or what the public believes to be the truth, into the spotlight. This silence becomes even more potent when you consider its implications for both Meghan and Harry. The allegations, though unproven, now have a life of their own. They are no longer just whispers in private circles. They have become a public spectacle. The absence of information is not only feeding the story, but it is also preventing it from being fully dispelled. The question now is not just about the existence of a child. It's about the entire narrative surrounding Meghan's life. If the child exists, it raises the uncomfortable possibility that an entire chapter of her life has been deliberately erased from the public record. If the child does not exist, the mere suggestion of such a life-changing event forces the public to question the integrity of the story that Meghan has built for herself. The more time passes without a definitive statement from Meghan or her team, the more the story grows. The absence of a clear denial allows the theory to lead, beyond creating a narrative that is based on absence itself. People begin to wonder, if there is nothing to hide, why the silence? If there's no truth to these claims, why not simply shut them down once and for all? Silence, in this case, has become a double-edged sword. It protects, yes, but it also fuels the narrative, making it stronger, more persistent, and harder to dispel. And then there's the question of Meghan's reputation and what's at stake. If this child were indeed a part of her life, if such a marriage and family dynamic were hidden from the world, What does that say about the carefully constructed image she has built? What does it mean for the stories she has shared publicly, the advocacy she has promoted, and the persona she has presented to the world? The implications of such a revelation would be far-reaching, not just for Meghan's personal life, but for her public image as well. It would force the world to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about her, challenging the very narrative she has worked so hard to control. As the story continues to unfold, it captivates the public more deeply with every new development. The stakes have never been higher, not just for Meghan, but for Harry as well. The credibility of their relationship, the values they've publicly espoused, and the very future they've carved out for themselves are now in jeopardy. Every day that passes without answers adds more pressure to a situation already rife with uncertainty. The truth, whatever form it may take, is on the verge of coming to light, and the world is watching. The stakes are not just personal anymore, they are global. What happens next will change everything. We've uncovered the facts, but the truth is still waiting to be revealed. What do you think? Is there more to Meghan's story than meets the eye, or are these just rumors built on speculation? The truth is still out there, and you can be a part of uncovering it. Subscribe now to stay updated on this developing story, because we're only just beginning to scratch the surface. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Markle family saga, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Your opinions matter. Share this video with your friends, because the more people who know the truth, the stronger the movement for justice becomes. Don't let silence win.